It's Austin again from Arizona Sulcata. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about how to make some heated shelters. Just to start off right off the bat, I'm in Arizona, so we have very mild winters here. So if you're on the East Coast or somewhere where it's going to be constantly below freezing, this probably is not going to work for you, what I'm going to show you today. However, for you people, I'd recommend getting a shed, insulating it, and then you can put in a radiator heater or some ceramic heat emitters, and I have done that before and it works awesome. So this is going to be for more of people in warmer climates. I'm going to build something similar to this today, where you see I have these corrugated metal roof panels up here, and then I've mounted these heat lamps, and these are all 100-watt ceramic heat emitters, so there's 8 of them. And even when it has dropped to 32 here at night, which again is very rare, maybe a couple times a year, it has stayed about 70 degrees surface temperature on their shells. So it's working for where I am. Keeps them dry and keeps them warm. So I will show you what I'm going to be doing. It's not quite the same, but very similar to this. Hey guys, so for this heated shelter, I'm kind of using some scrap materials I had laying around. I have this metal corrugated roofing panel that's just been sitting out in the pasture. The cows have been stomping on it. It's been out here for years, but it'll work just great for what I'm going to use it today. I've cut it down to size. This is 7 feet long. And let me show you what I'm going to be using it for over here. So we're going to be putting the shelter right here. I've already put up one pallet right there, and I have wired that to the existing fence so that they can't move that pallet, and it'll act as a little bit of a windbreak, hold a little bit more heat in. Again, I'm not really too concerned about that here because it doesn't get very cold. I'm going to be putting in a second pallet on the end over here, and that'll act as my 2 end walls. And how I'm going to hold it there is I'm going to put in 2 5-foot T-posts, sink them in the ground there so it's nice and solid, and I'll wire it to those T-posts. Then when I'm done with that, I'll put the roof over the top, and we will drill it into those pallets, screw it on so it's nice and secure so the wind won't blow it away, and then I'll show you how to go about putting the heaters in there. There's that end pallet in. I put those 2 5-foot T-posts, which are sunk in the ground about 2 feet, so it's super solid. And then I wired, as you can see, I wired those posts in to the pallet, so it's not going anywhere. There's what it'll look like on the inside. The roof is 7 feet, but that spacing in between there is about 6 feet just to be safe. So I will get to cutting the holes on the roof panel for the heat lamps to go into, and then I'll show you guys. I wanted to point out real quick, on that one I showed you at the beginning of the video, what I did is I traced the outline of that that heat lamp, the base of it, and I cut a big circle and mounted the lights on top. So now I'm going to be doing things a little bit differently on this one because I have a higher base. It's 40 inches tall, so if I put the heat lamps at the top of that, they're not going to get much of that heat down at ground level. So I'm going to be hanging those down about 1.5 feet or so. So what I did, instead of doing a big hole on top, which also lets out a lot of heat, I just did, it's kind of hard to tell with all the mud, but I just cut out this little tiny square. It's about 1 inch by 1 inch, just big enough to get the outlet through on the heat lamp, because it's going to be hanging down there. And then once I get the heat lamp through there, the cord running through there, I'm going to go around it with some spray foam insulation and let it set, and that'll hold the cord in there, and I'll show you that later. So the roof is on. You can see screwed the roof in so the wind's not going to blow it away. And then I got, hard to see with all this mud, but 1, 2, and 3 holes for, I'm going to have 3 heat lamps in here, and try and space those out evenly so the heat covers everywhere. But here's the inside, and I'm going to hang, there you go, you can see the holes better from under here. And then I'm going to hang the lamps down probably about 1.5 feet or so. We'll see when I get there, but I will show you guys that when I get to it. Alright, so what I've done is I've hung those lamps in there, and I've measured them 24 inches from ground level, which is about where I like mine. It'll be different for you depending on your climate and temperatures where you're at. You never want to put it too close to a tortoise's shell, or it can burn them and burn their scutes off, which is not a good thing. So make sure you hang them at a safe level. Make sure you're not going to have tortoises piling up on each other in there and can burn themselves on the heat lamps. And I am using 100-watt ceramic heat emitters. So I'm going to be going over it with this spray foam. I've taken the piece of metal that I cut out and kind of overlaid it there, so the gap filler, the insulation doesn't just fall through and go down onto the heat lamp. I used rocks right there holding the cords in place, and then once I get it all spray foamed and it sets up, I can remove the rocks. Alright, so there it is. It's spray foamed. Still waiting for it to set up, but spray foam in there. I even went along that back edge with spray foam, filled in some of the gaps up there so it stops some wind from blowing through here and maybe keep a little bit more heat in. But you can see it's all sealed off, and that's it, guys. That'll keep tortoises probably at least about 75 degrees in winter. Again, this is for Arizona. Even a shelter like this would work for colder climates if you bought some foam, foam board insulation, and put it on the roof there, and then went over the front of this with some rubber PVC flaps to hold all the heat in. That would work for you in colder climates, is my guess, as long as you went around the whole thing with that foam board insulation. So again, not pretty, but it does get the job done. It's solid. It's in there with T-posts. That metal, you know, is going to be good forever. So I'm hoping I can get at least a good 5 years out of this heated shelter. And again, this didn't cost me any money. This is all just stuff I had laying around. So it's a nice, cheap, heated enclosure for them that it really does get the job done. That's it, guys. Feel free to email me at azsulcata@gmail.com if you have any questions, or visit the website at azsulcata.com. Thank you.